Women have been complaining for years that models and actresses have given them unrealistic body expectations, which is where the body positivity movement comes from, which is where the fat acceptance movement comes from, which leads us to where we are today, which is that Wolverine, both Henry Cavill and Hugh Jackman, both their performances in Deadpool and Wolverine, are now giving men unrealistic body expectations. These men should be ashamed of themselves who are complaining about it.
It's steroids, right?
Not necessarily.
There's definitely gear involved here. There's definitely
Not necessarily.
That's not the point. That's not the point. Men should see these things as aspirational, okay?
Yeah.
Superheroes are not supposed to look like you and me, ever. I do not want to see a squishy superhero.
Yeah. I will say, like, when I was reading about this early this morning, I didn't end up having time to do it, but I was going to go through the decades, starting with like the 60s and look at like the top action stars and then see how they were built.
Well,
and to see if it has become more extreme and unrealistic.
No.
The progression of Wolverine.
Think of Stallone.
Yeah.
Think of Stallone back in the day, or Jean-Claude Van Damme, or any of these guys. It's not. If anything, I would say that the action stars of today, your Chris Pratts, your John Krasinski's, who I guess the ones that you consider your modern day bankable action stars, are more normal looking than your average everyday action star of the '80s when they were all jacked up on steroids.
Yeah.
I miss that. I want to see more people looking like Arnie in Predator, and less people looking like Bill Murray in Ghostbusters.
And keep in mind too, like the cameras are better today, right? And like
CGI,
they've had decades of experience to know how to get that look. Like the one dangerous thing that
35 millimeter cameras, in my opinion, were shot better than digital.
But like with CGI, they can enhance the look of Hugh Jackman and stuff.
Have you seen that story about so when Nick Cage got in shape for Ghost Rider? Everyone accused him of having fake abs. He's like, I'm never getting in shape for a role again because everyone just accused me of faking it.
Really? That guy's awesome.
Look, and for a long time, Marvel had requirements that the men had to put on a certain amount of muscle. I remember there was big stories going around when Kumail Nanjiani got into really good shape to play his character in the Eternals. And I just laugh because I'm like, the funny actor guy, or Tom Holland, right? I mean, Tom Holland is already, because Tom Holland is shorter than your average actor.
Well, it's the mouse, the mouse man phenomenon. Have you seen that? Where like the modern movie stars all kind of look like just weak mouse men.
Oh, they kind of have like the mouse ratty face.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, we have talked about
Tom Holland.
The thing is, though, is they want to make men look less threatening. They want to emasculate men.
It's not, and it's more of like you said, John Krasinski, which is not quite the same, but like these are like slender, they're fit, but they're not super jacked. It's more of like this like spy. Like James Bond has never been super jacked.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
He's fit though.
He would stand out.
But it's like this not a modesty thing, but it's like a more like a fancier way of being in shape is kind of how they're portraying men in movies now, especially action movies.
The thing is, gentlemen, is it should not be you that are whining about unrealistic body types. I get it. I still think it's lame when women do it. I think that people should look at these things as aspirational. Hollywood in and of itself, film in and of itself, is a image-focused business, meaning that being camera ready is important. And people have given women a lot of leeway because of social justice and because of virtue signaling to say, oh, you don't need to get in shape for this role. You don't need to do that.
Right.
It's seen as a virtue to love you just the way you are, even if what you look like is Lizzo. That's a problem when you're playing superheroes.
But when they cast female superheroes, they're always fit, right?
For the most part.
For the most part. I mean, they haven't had like an overweight female superhero.
There have been, but I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple quotes here that Channing Tatum said his diet for Magic Mike was not healthy. Yeah. And then Henry Cavill talking about the dehydration. That's something that is a cause for concern, because when you get those like the veins popping out and your muscles, that's
the point
happens
is
when you dehydrate yourself.
Right, because they're playing a make-believe character. So they want to exaggerate and accentuate what they look like.
They're playing superhumans, which means you have to have a superhuman physique. There's this story they would talk about, like when they were making the Marvel movies in the second and third phase, the actors would be lifting weights right up until they started shooting, right? So you go look at the scene of Chris Evans when, as Captain America, when he grabs the helicopter and he grabs the railing and he pulls it in, and he's talking about having to work out extensively, like bicep curls, right up until shooting time, so that he can make it pop on camera right as they're shooting.
Yeah, and but it's also important to know, even if like these actors, because Hugh Jackman has a line in here, he has a 3-month strict diet and then finishes with 3 days of dehydration. Like, not a good idea. Even if that's like unhealthy and dangerous, right? There's a means to the end, right? So like once this movie's filmed, they're not doing that anymore.
No, they talk about, so Jason Momoa would talk about the first thing he asks when his agent gets him a role. He's like, do I have to have abs?
Yeah.
Because he has to know whether he's, like, he was in like if you go look at his, if you guys saw Aquaman and then Aquaman 2, he's in completely different shape in Aquaman 2 than he was in the first one.
How was he? He was in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, way back
was he like more normal look? I don't remember.
No, he was big burly dude.
Okay.
That was his character.
And he's 46 now, so he's getting up there. But the thing is when you're an actor, and especially if you're an action star, a big part of your job is eat right, get in really good shape. You have to be camera ready because it's a visual medium. And men should not look at that as something that's giving them unrealistic body expectations. The first thing you should do is think, I want to look like that. What do I, if you so desire, right? Mm-hmm. If you're looking at yourself and you're unhappy with the way you look, you should be asking yourself, what do I have to do to make these changes?
Right.
Not say, it's unfair for you to show this to me because it makes me feel uncomfortable with myself. That feeling of discomfort is a sign that you want to make a change.
It's a you problem.
Yes.
Right.
And honestly, women should take the same approach to these things. I really, really do. But men, when they talk about the double standard, should learn to embrace it, because that's never, like, society's never going to change. You're always going to be, like, men and women are different. That is an immutable, that's just a fact. We are. And you're going to be held to different standards, and learning to embrace that will help you mentally prepare.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
I lost my train of thought.
Like the thing is too, is like the whole point is that they are superheroes, right? So they're trying to play a superhero that's doing these incredibly physically intense things on camera. So it kind of just goes along with the territory, and I feel like it's something that is just a minor detail and part of the role that people are honing in on and way too much. And they do this, I feel like, every time an actor gets into
the news is
shape.
Always going to latch on to the, the shock content, right? Mm-hmm. Like this, rather than, I think it's The Rock, who he's very fit, and he's like, when he talks about his workout plans and stuff that he does, it's very like rational, right? It's nothing extreme.
But he talks about how he has a gym flown in to wherever he's going, right?
Well, have you seen the pictures of his cheat meals too? Yeah. They're insane.
That's extreme, but like he eats well, and then I think he has a thing where he doesn't spend more than 30 minutes in the gym a day. He goes in, does what he needs to do, and then he leaves.
Is that true?
I think it's The Rock.
Somebody fact check me on this. I feel like this is more than that.
I think it's The Rock that said that. I'm not talking about prepping for a role. I'm just saying like his lifestyle. Yeah. But they won't, like, the media's never going to write a story on like the good habits that these actors are preaching.
Alan Richardson has been very open about how he's like, yes, I take HGH. He's like, I'm on, human growth hormone, or no, I'm sorry, TRT.
Okay.
He's like, no, I'm on TRT, and he talks about his workouts and everything like that. And I do think that it's a problem when dudes start thinking like, because remember when the dad bod discussion came up, and like I think that's used in the same way for men to try and get them to lapse into not caring the same way talking about body positivity does for women. Meaning like if people love me just the way I am, then I don't have to try. That makes sense?
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I wonder, like, for women, women who get their hair done, their nails done, we hear all the time that that's for other women. That's not for men. Really, like, guys don't notice or care that much. So I feel like guys getting into shape, like, it makes the men feel insecure, but I don't think women care that much. Like, obviously, like, if you could have one or the other, you prefer someone who is in shape. But at the end of the day, that's not like a huge determining factor for every woman as to a man's attractiveness. Is if he has,
it's not just about attraction, though. It's like a lot of it is like it's about feeling good about yourself, right? Yeah. Now, not even just in the case of working out, but just being physically active, right? Mm-hmm. I talk a lot about how skating for me, which was something that I did do for work, is I skated for companies, I skated for brands, and I loved those years. But now skating just is what I do as a form of physical activity, is a means of going out, and I always feel better about myself when I'm done because I'm active. You get your the blood pumping, and also it allows you to challenge yourself mentally and physically to do something. And then when you're done, no matter how it goes, you feel better that you got out and did anything. And the same is true for working out.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
The only purpose of working out is not to lose weight. It's just as good for your mental health as it is for your physical, if not more so.
I will say at no point during the newest Hugh Jackman movie, the Deadpool movie, did I look at him and I'm like, oh, that's unrealistic. Oh, that's unhealthy.
For his age, it's pretty.
But that thought never even crossed my mind. I saw Wolverine fighting people, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yep.
This is Wolverine. This is the Wolverine that I grew up with.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.